Hey, this is Russell, and I work at the video store, the place that we can go to every week when it's movie night. On days like today, when the store is quiet, I get to chat to my friends about the films and the series that we're loving. All right, let's do it. Let's open up the shop.
Did you see that thing yesterday on the TV? It was ready, interesting!
How's it, guys?
Hey.
Morning.
How you guys doing?
I'm all right, man.
No complaints.
Are you strong?
I'm strong.
Are you healthy?
I'm healthy. Cole looks wonderful. I had to compliment him today. He just looks so good.
He's glowing.
Yeah, he's glowing. He
Thanks,
looks refreshed from
Yeah.
the UK.
From
First
Dream
time I'm
Theater,
seeing him.
dude.
Yeah. First time I'm seeing him since he's been back, so it's lovely. Yeah.
Welcome to the video store. Thank you for wandering into our lovely video store. We've got ourselves a great day today. We've got ourselves a Perrin,
Yay.
a Perrin, a P-Dog,
What up?
Fish.
Fish. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never gotten that wrong. I just want to say.
Oh, yeah.
You told me once,
'cause
and
you-
I've never forgotten.
Because you listen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
listen.
I've just never really had to say your surname out
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
Perrin, you are a editor, a writer,
Videographer.
everything. We're
Yeah.
not working at the video store.
Yeah.
Then we got ourselves a Cole Matthews today.
How's it?
Hi, Cole.
And Cole, you are a creative copywriter.
Okay, yeah. So, no, just call me a digital video copywriter.
Digital video copywriter.
The tragedy of being in the film industry, I realized this, is that my first job at McCann as a freelancer, they called people creatives there, and I had such an issue with that. So I was like, creative's an adjective. It's not a noun. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
They're not. Everyone's creative.
yeah.
And then now you become one. And my official job title at work is creative.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
you've earned your strength.
I've earned my stripes, dude.
I've done my time in advertising.
Yes,
Also,
yes.
I was in the pen.
Yeah.
That was the creative,
God.
little stable. And my name is Russell, and I am the owner of the Bioscope, which is an independent cinema here in Johannesburg.
And he's also an award-winning host.
Yes, he is.
Oh, thank you.
Cue horns.
And today is our clerks chat, where the three of us are behind the counter here at our video store, and we're going to talk about all the movies and the series that we've been watching this last week. It's been a very busy week,
It has.
and we're entering into what I believe is a very busy season, which is very cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff, especially coming out cinema-wise at the Bioscope in December and all that lovely stuff. I can't wait to chat to you guys about. The big thing, of course, is Wicked,
Yes.
which myself and Cole went to the South African premiere of last week. It was on a Monday of all days. And it's a somewhat long movie, so it kind of wrecked my Tuesday. I don't know about you, Cole.
No, it was fine.
I was a bit tired.
Shame.
And then Perrin, you got a chance to see it over the weekend.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll chat about that. I've got a little sneaky little made-for-TV movie I want to talk about. Now,
standards are low.
but it's taking the world by storm, so we'll get
Yeah.
into that.
Cool.
Um,
Sounds like
both you,
hyperbole.
both you guys have seen The Substance,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
we've been waiting for the combination of Perrin and Cole together
Yeah.
to be able to talk about that. I got about halfway through.
Yeah, we just briefly chatted about it. Yeah.
I pulled out at the chicken bone coming out of the belly button because I then just knew the road we were going to go down.
Yeah.
But okay, we will get into that. P-Dog, because you are here with us today,
Yes.
we always hope it's never a full-on requirement, but we
Yeah.
always hope that you can give us one of your lists.
Yes. Yeah. I had a bunch of list ideas I was gonna do, but because Wicked's the in thing right now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about witch-related movies.
Okay, so this is
Cool.
like your 5 best
Yeah, I think.
witch themed movies.
Yeah, I like to, not necessarily the best, because I mean, obviously, like sometimes, like if we're going like the 5 best war movies, I'm gonna pick the 5 best my 5 favorite war movies.
Okay,
what
so-
I like to do is to suggest ones that you may have missed, or
Okay.
yeah.
So it's not best. It's the
It's like hidden gems, like ones you should
the
check
five
out.
the 5 best hidden gems.
Yeah, exactly.
That are witch related. Okay. Oh, and another nice thing that we're doing this week is the screening of Heretic.
Oh, yeah.
Hey?
Yeah, we're doing a
I'm very
giveaway.
pumped for that.
Yeah. So when these advanced screenings happen, sometimes the distributors give us some tickets to give away. So we have been doing a ticket giveaway over on Instagram. So our handle is the Video Store Pod, if you don't follow us already. But look out for the Attention All Customers post that we did on Sunday. And you got to leave a comment as to why you deserve these tickets. And we've got a bunch to give away, and then we will DM you. And we want you to come and join us. So that is on Wednesday. So the Wednesday in which this episode has come out. And it's going to be at 8 o'clock at the Zone in Rosebank. And there have been some really interesting comments already. Perrin, I don't know whether these are folks linked to you.
Yeah, I've got some former Mormons. I got friends who are very interested in that life.
So for those who don't know, Heretic is this new A24 thriller horror of sorts.
Yeah.
Starring Hugh Grant, where two missionaries knock on the door of this gentleman, and this whole sort of movie plays out. And so yeah, by missionaries they are Mormon.
Yeah.
And so Perrin, you used to be Mormon. You were raised Mormon.
Yeah, I never went on mission, but one of my closest friends was a sister missionary, and she had like some interesting stories.
Hey?
And she's a former Mormon, so she's very excited. She's been dying to see this movie, so she was the first person I told about it. I'm like, yo, this is coming here. You need to see this.
And enter this competition.
Yeah.
Mission was often you got placed in different.
Yeah, so basically when you are a missionary, I mean, look, I haven't been active in the church for like 12 years, but basically the gist of it is men go on mission for 2 years, women go for 18 months.
And it could be anywhere in the world.
Anyway, you don't get to decide. So you have to pay for your mission as well.
Jesus, out of your own pocket.
Yeah, out of your own pocket, you save up. Like that's why, like a lot of these kids, they start saving up when they're young so they can go. But I mean, obviously, there's certain scenarios where they can help you fund the mission and stuff like that.
Sure.
But basically, yeah, you get you become a missionary, and then they assign you somewhere in the world.
And then once there, the idea is that you actually go door to door to try and.
So some countries, they don't do door to door anymore because it's too dangerous. Like here, so sister missionaries aren't allowed in South Africa because it's too dangerous. There's been cases where women were assaulted and murdered because they knocked on the wrong door.
Yeah.
And there's always a creep there. So like the whole idea that Mormons go door to door isn't really a thing anymore. It's still more Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's
there's that great joke where like the dude lets the Jehovah's Witness in, and he's like, "Okay, now tell me, what do you want to talk about?" And they're like, "I've never gotten this far."
But yeah, so like interesting thing is like I've got mates who served in Chile. I know people that served in Russia back in the day, and like wherever you get assigned. So you go train before you leave. So you train for, I think, 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And depending on where you get sent, they start teaching you the language. So like one of my mates, for the longest time, I don't know if he still does this, but he went to Chile and Spanish became his first language. He dreamt in Spanish.
Wow.
Even when he got back. Like for years, he was dreaming in Spanish.
Hectic.
Yeah.
Cole, on his recent European or UK jaunt, went to go watch Book of Mormon, the play.
I did. I sent a WhatsApp to Brett, and I said I could have seen Hades Town or Book of Mormon, and I asked Brett, who's another guest of the video store.
He's been a guest on the video store.
Yeah, I asked him which one I see it. He's like, "You're a South Park fan. Go watch Book of Mormon."
Yeah, no, they're great.
Lovely.
They're fantastic at musicals.
Dude.
Did you ever watch Cannibal the musical?
No.
It's one of I think it's one of the boys.
Yeah.
They did a musical about like a Western cannibal. It's based on a true story, but they like are genuinely good songwriters.
They're
like,
brilliant. There's that guy that worked on the first film that won the Oscar for Blame Canada.
Yes.
And he's stuck with them through all these years. And then there was an episode about John, who's the Mormon guy? Can't remember.
Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
And there was a South Park episode about that guy, and it was a musical. And then they obviously like saw that,
Yeah.
and it's like sat with them, and then became the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
It's such a lovely play.
Yeah, you
It's
loved
so
it.
funny, dude.
Kira loves it as well. My girlfriend, she adores it. So yeah.
But speaking of Kira's a big fan of Wicked.
Yeah, she
And so
loves it.
this movie adaptation and the release was a big thing for her.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to, when we get into the Wicked chat, I'd
Yes.
love to hear what it was like for her. Because what I'm actually the most curious about is how much of the play
100%.
translated into the movie.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. But let's kick off with a little bit of breaking news, entertainment news. This is our sort of start of the show section called Hey, Did You Guys See?
Yes. So must I go?
You kick it off.
Okay, so hey, did you guys see Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg are doing a Cape Fear TV series, and Javier Bardem is going to play Max Cady,
Whoa.
which is great casting.
That is cool.
They're going to work on it together
Yeah.
as two directors?
So with Cape Fear, so those who don't know, the first film was starring Robert Mitchum and I can't remember who else, but it was a thriller in the 50s.
Oh, the first film.
Yeah. About I'm maybe remembering it a little wrong, but Max Cady, he is sentenced to prison by a lawyer, and when he gets out, he wants to get revenge on this lawyer, this prosecutor, right? So the remake, which I think is better, was done by Scorsese in the 90s, starring Nick Nolte, Juliette Lewis, and Robert De Niro as Max Cady, who's fucking terrifying in it. But yeah, like the interesting thing about Spielberg and Scorsese working on that is originally Spielberg was supposed to do Cape Fear, and Scorsese was supposed to do Schindler's List.
Hectic.
And then Scorsese felt that Schindler's List wasn't his story to tell, so he was like, "Yo, Spielberg, I think this is perfect for you."
Interesting.
Gave it to him, and they swapped projects, and I think it worked out best. I think Cape Fear is one of Scorsese's most underrated films. I think it's a really tight thriller. And it's worth watching just for Robert De Niro alone. But that TV series will be interesting. It's going to be for Apple TV, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So that'll be cool.
Hey, did you guys see there's a first look at Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein?
Yes.
Did you
Saw
see
this.
the image?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
I saw the
only
image.
one image that's been released, and it's of Victor Frankenstein. He's got his back turned to the camera. He's in his kind of workshop, so there's this beautiful kind of window. So interesting
Oscar
kind of
Isaac,
natural
right?
light. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
played by Oscar Isaac, but you can't really see his face, and then you can see the body on the slab of
Very
the
excited
monster,
for
Jacob
that.
Elordi.
Yeah.
which is Jacob
Little
Elordi.
gorgeous monster.
It should have been. It was supposed to be Andrew Garfield, was it not?
Really?
Yeah.
I heard
I know
that.
Jacob's got like there's something fugly about him. He's like got a
And he's
got that-
freakishly tall.
yeah, but he's got that like classic Frankenstein look going
Yeah.
on. There's something there, but he's hot.
Yeah. No, he's
You
a hot boy. Yeah.
Yes, sis.
I am just about finished reading the book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I must say,
Mary
for
Shelley,
those who've been following me talk about it, I'm sure they're like, why haven't you finished the book by now? It's not the longest book in the world.
Yeah.
I only get like a limited period of time before I fall asleep at night.
Yeah.
And I only really read at night.
But
So-
also, I remember you saying like with those books that are that old, you have to like look up certain words. You're like, what the fuck does this mean?
it's the most
All the time.
It's
Yeah.
the most verbose writing ever,
Yeah.
and it's very dramatic
Yeah.
and very, it's quite convoluted. But it's a beautiful book, and I've really enjoyed reading it, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
The further information on this is that it's obviously coming next year.
Yes.
But something I didn't know about this is that it's a Netflix film.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That actually kind of checks out because Guillermo del Toro, he did the Pinocchio movie for Netflix. So
Yeah.
I wonder if he's got a deal with them.
It could be.
Yeah.
Could be that. Yeah. So hopefully there's some kind of cinema run, because
No, there
sometimes
will
these
be 100%.
these films
yeah.
do it, especially because that's also
Oscars.
for
Yeah.
those who don't know, it's part of how you can qualify.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just it's a TV movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks interesting.
Very cool, Cole.
I don't have one. Oh, hey, did you guys see that Nosferatu is not coming to South Africa?
Is that official?
Yeah,
Well, we've spoken about it.
Yeah,
I've
no, I'm just
told you
bringing it up.
inside.
because I'm complaining.
I've told you inside information as to why it's not
Fuck,
coming.
I don't remember. That.
I'm just complaining.
Yeah, no, I remember the Northman was also pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult.
The
And-
Lighthouse didn't come here as well.
It's so bizarre because we're getting like all these band movies. I don't know if you see like all the little mini band documentaries or live show concerts
Yeah.
are coming to South Africa. And I feel like, does that really sell out cinema?
It's boomers, dude. Boomers are like, I want to see the Eagles again in their
But it's-
80s.
Yeah, it's all completely different films coming from completely different places.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's all these convoluted reasons as to why, and I did mention at one point why that one in particular didn't come.
Yes.
But yeah,
It's terrible, dude.
okay.
We'll find it on the Seven Seas. Or we're just going to have to wait until it gets
sakes.
nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah,
And
then they'll bring it
then
out.
they'll bring it.
Fucking morons. Anyways, hey, did you guys see? Cole, I know you got opinions about this. The How to Train Your Dragon remake footage dropped.
Yes.
Okay, so I really hate this trend of remaking, like Moana as well. They're doing a live action remake of Moana
And a sequel.
and a sequel, animated sequel.
They're cashing in, eh?
It's fucking stupid.
It's so dumb.
It's such an insult to the form of animation.
It
Why do
is.
you feel that you need to make it quote unquote better by making it live action? Also, Mufasa's not live action. It is clearly an animated movie.
We've
Yeah.
we've also had this bitch with
everything
Graham.
is-
Jesus
everything is
Christ.
animated.
It's all animated. Yeah, it's very
so
annoying.
angry. And the How to Train Your Dragon, like the thing that annoys me, I get it. It's when they do shot for shot, it's like an homage, it's like it's a nod to what was done so well before. But then why bother doing
Why
it?
bother doing it?
It's
dude?
like the Psycho remake with Gus Van Sant. It was a fucking shot for shot remake, and it didn't add or take anything away from the original. Like why
Yeah.
bother?
Why? What's the purpose
Yeah.
of remaking it?
Yes.
Okay, so just to pin this down, the lovable How to Train Your Dragon, which was a beautiful DreamWorks animation.
Yeah.
Next year, there is now going to be a newer version of it,
Yes.
a redo, where it is quote unquote live action, where the human characters are going to be played by actual humans.
Yeah.
So it's like Gerard Butler voiced Hiccup's dad in the animated film,
Yeah.
and now he's playing the live action head
Yeah.
of the Viking village.
So yeah, I don't know.
You know?
Yeah,
And it's the original director as well, the same director as the animation.
Just don't get it.
And
the biggest question you've put your the nail the tail in the donkey
Yeah.
or whatever the expression
Yes.
is why
Yeah.
why are we doing it?
Mm.
Especially when something is so beloved and great. So yeah, it's
It's a cash grab, guys.
Do you know
It's
what
like-
it is as well? I really hate it when like people say, "Oh, Hollywood's running out of ideas." Oh, like because I mean, when people say there's no new original ideas anymore, they just don't look hard enough because there are fucking so many great films that come out yearly all the time.
yeah.
But Hollywood, big Hollywood, generally is out of ideas because they're doing shit like this.
Well,
You know.
this leads to my next "Hey, did you guys see?"
Yeah,
which is "Hey, did you guys see that the current?" So we've still got a few more weeks to go, but the top 10 highest grossing films of this year so far, all 10 are sequels.
Hectic.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's understandable
it
though.
tracks. This is the world, the era that we're
Okay,
living
so
in.
what those 10 are is Inside Out 2,
Okay,
which I'm all for.
I'm all for
That's
as
great.
well.
Deadpool and Wolverine,
That makes sense.
obvious.
Yeah,
Despicable Me 4. Blah. Dune Part 2.
Yeah, here for it.
It's not necessarily a sequel as
here
much
for
as it is an important second half of the
Yeah.
story that needed to be divided up.
yeah.
Godzilla X Kong,
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Kung Fu Panda 4, Beetlejuice. Funny enough, Venom: The Last Dance makes
Oh,
the top 10.
Oh my god.
Bad Boys Ride or Die.
Really? Wow.
It's currently number
nostalgia.
9.
It's the nostalgia
Yeah.
train.
And number 10 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes
Okay.
at the moment.
Yeah.
So perhaps Wicked will.
I think
will-
Wicked's gonna.
I think
take
Wicked's
it.
going to
Well,
dominate.
It'll
I
get the
just
top
saw-
10.
Yeah.
Mufasa, you could consider some form of
Yeah, I don't know about
sequel-ish
that,
because it's not a sequel, it's a prequel, but still it counts.
Yeah, the Lion King remake didn't do well. I
Oh
remember.
no, it
Did it do well
fucking
financially?
well.
Oh, yeah, it
it's
did.
like one of the top 5 movies or something, isn't it?
Oh wait, okay, now I remember. Yeah,
didn't do well in my
critically.
heart.
Yeah, critically it didn't do well, but I now remember. Yeah,
No,
like,
it did very.
Fucking
I remember
hell.
it's Graham's thing. Graham said that we were talking about the highest grossing animation,
yeah,
and I can't remember what it was, but it's
Yeah.
not the Lion King film
Uh,
because they call that a live action, and it was Inside Out 2, I think.
That is
became
current-
the highest
yeah, that
grossing,
became the highest grossing.
and they were just
yeah.
like, no, it's the Lion King freaking CG
Fucking
movie.
hell.
It technically is that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
God.
maybe Inside Out 2 has now since done better than The Lion King.
Yeah, I didn't expect Inside Out 2 to do that well. Holy crap.
But
It dominated.
But yeah, another one, P-Dog?
Okay, this one's a bit more abstract, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with the filmmaker Lynn Ramsey.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ratcatcher.
Yeah, You Were Never Here.
Did she do We Need to Talk About Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a Scottish.
Yeah.
What, yeah.
When I was in Scotland, I got to see my friend Ian, who
Yeah.
I'd love to have on the show. A person recommends you a film, and because it's that person, you're like, I have to watch it.
Yeah.
And Ian said, You Were Never Really Here.
So good.
It's just like this incredibly special.
It's I would say that's our modern Taxi Driver. Like, it's
Seriously?
fucking amazing.
You Were
It's,
Never Really Here.
Yeah, with
With
Joaquin
Joaquin.
Phoenix. He should have bagged an Oscar for that as well. It's short film. It's like 80 minutes. It's a film where he's a hitman who is trying to save a young girl from like these like people who are exploiting her, and it's
Okay.
fucking amazing.
Shit.
But what was your...
Oh,
where did you guys see?
So Lynn Ramsey, because she doesn't make movies very often, her new film, Die My Love, is Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson and Lakeith Stanfield. It's a new film that's coming out. It's about a woman
Okay.
who's like kind of losing her mind in a marriage. And it's her first film in 7 years for Lynn Ramsey, and I'm extremely excited about that. It's coming out next year, and it's
Die My Love.
and it's and I'm glad to see Jennifer Lawrence doing
Jennifer
weird
Lawrence, okay.
movies again, like interesting choices. Yeah, because she's a phenomenal actress.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm very excited for that one.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I've got one that I want to then segue into film. So
Okay.
if you've got another one that you...
I've got one more that's
Okay,
quick.
Let's do it.
Okay, this is a very cool one. I'm very excited for it. Cole's going to be excited as well. Daniel Craig and Luca Guadagnino, they collab with Queer, which I'm so excited for. They are circling a DC project, Sergeant Rock.
Oh.
How weird is that combination? But I'm here for it because Luca is one of my favorite filmmakers.
He's amazing.
And that is a fucking cool combination.
So what's Sergeant Rock?
I'm not familiar with
Is
Sergeant
it
Rock.
gay?
It could be.
It sounds gay.
But yeah, I'm very
So
excited.
circling means
They are in talks.
they kind of have the IP, or they've got the rights to it.
I think DC wants them in the corral, so to speak, to like work on that. So I'm very excited for that.
Okay.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah, but
That would be cool.
I'm also worried because Chloe Zhao, when she did Nomadland and all these great little indie art house films, she went and did The Eternals, which was too Chloe Zhang and too Marvel for her. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so she kind of got lost in the
In the big pool.
yeah, like we haven't heard from her, but she just wrapped filming, or she's busy filming an adaptation of Hamnet, which is a book by Maggie O'Farrell.
Hamnet.
Yeah, starring Paul Mescal and Buckley,
Jesse Buckley.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And that's going to be wonderful. It's about Shakespeare and his wife's relationship, and it's about their son who died. Like, yeah.
Interesting.
And
Dude.
Chloe Zhao's phenomenal. She's perfect for that adaptation as well.
Yeah, maybe sometimes the big projects can overwhelm and kind of ruin
Yeah.
these more sort of smaller indie project
Yeah.
filmmakers, or
Yeah.
perhaps they're not sort of groomed carefully enough.
Yeah.
and they just get a bit
Yeah, then
overwhelmed.
like you get thrown the Marvel Bible
Yeah.
like Kevin Feige. And
It's
you have to
a
kind of
blueprint
thrive,
you have to
know?
adhere to.
No, but
which
also you
sucks.
can make really good creative decisions
Yeah.
because you don't have budget.
Yeah.
And that can lead to you actually being a more efficient or smarter or
Uh.
inventive director. But if you've got everything available to you,
I
you might be
heard-
too indulgent.
Yeah.
I heard that this is why Megalopolis,
Oh, fuck
Um,
me. It's
my favorite
awful.
review. Oh, did you watch it?
It's terrible, dude.
Oh, shit.
Jesus.
My
it's
favorite
awful.
review on on Letterboxd is "This sucked Megacoculus."
But did you
But
see,
I saw this critic saying, "Godfather, Apocalypse Now,
the conversation.
The Conversation.
Yeah.
These are all films where the odds were so stacked against Coppola, right?
Yeah.
The whole time he had to struggle.
Yeah.
Every single time was like the worst experience a filmmaker could have.
And they're like these masterpieces.
And then this is where it's like it's that diamond under pressure, being formed under pressure kind of thing, that's Coppola.
Yeah.
As soon as this guy can do whatever he wants,
Yeah, 100%.
it's kind of just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense.
No, I agree.
So, hey, did you guys see the Netflix film Hot Frosty got a higher audience rating on Rotten
Oh my
Tomatoes
God.
than
Then
The
Godfather. Fuck off. Oh,
So,
God.
segueing now into film, let's please talk about the
The Hot
2024 holiday gem, Hot Frosty. Cole, do you know anything about this movie?
So,
It's as dumb as you think it is.
I know what it's about. We were going to watch it last night and then we just didn't. Yeah.
I'm here to tell you it's lacquer dumb. Lacquer
I love
fucking
Lacquer
stupid.
Dumb. Yeah.
But let me tell you, it's a good fucking movie.
Oh,
It
really?
does everything that you want it to do.
Is it better than The God?
In many ways, it is.
Yeah.
No, it's lacquer stupid, and it is not going to get any standing ovations it can. But I just love the fact that it knows exactly what it is.
Oh, I love
It delivers-
self-aware. Yeah.
It delivers that 100%, and it just gives you an hour and a half of just fucking stupid Christmas movie, and
Love
it
it.
gets you in the spirit, and I'm here for it. I'm
Yeah.
here for that.
Yeah.
So, starring Lacey Chabert, who you will know as Gretchen from Mean Girls.
She holds the record for the most Christmas movies ever.
Really? I didn't know
No
she was in
ways.
other
Yeah.
ones.
No,
Really?
she is apparently like the Christmas movie queen.
Well, this is the
Like,
first time I've ever seen her in a Christmas movie, and I've seen a couple
Yeah.
of others. It also stars Craig Robinson, Jolo Trulio, so some relatively not
Yeah.
B-list. These guys are
recognizable.
they're recognizable. They're from Brooklyn Nine-Nine
Office, yeah.
and The Office, so they've got a little bit of kind of comedy cred. But basically, a woman wishes or I don't know whether she even kisses this snowman, but a snowman comes to life, and he is a good-looking snowman.
I saw the snowman's name is Jack because of Jack Frost.
Well, he at the start is completely naked as he wanders through town at night,
Oh no!
and stumbles into a store through the window and puts on a overall which has the name Jack on it.
Okay.
But then they get connected, and he's lovable, and he's kind of stupid in the sense that he's only been alive for a day, but for some reason can talk really well. It's very stupid, and then goes on to sort of worm his way into the hearts of this little town, while Craig Robinson is the sheriff who wants to catch whoever was the streaker and broke the window of the shop. But no, it is delightful. In many ways, he is the manifestation of her trauma because her husband
wow.
recently passed away.
I know.
That's
We're
a
going
nice little
into-
second layer of the onion.
Yeah, we're going into modern horror territory now. It's always trauma and grief and guilt and
No, but it's sweet, and but there's a funny little Easter egg moment where she's watching a bit of Netflix in the background, and it's a Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie, and she says, "Oh, she looks like a girl I went to high school with."
Oh lol.
Lol.
Okay, so that's.
But yeah, good old Hot Frosty, dumb as fuck.
I just saw on
But,
Letterboxd that the writer Russell Hainline did a whole review. That's the top review for the film, and he gave it 5 stars. This is like becoming a trend on Letterboxd with filmmakers giving their own films 5 stars, which is really cute. I think they're doing it. Coppola did it seriously,
Yeah.
but this person might be doing it a little bit more in jest. And they say, in 2021, I started pitching it to my friends, and it had to be called Hot Frosty. And I thought about this crazy little idea, and now I saw Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show with Lacey Chabert talking about Hot Frosty as an audience cheered.
Yeah.
Being
Someone
happy.
said they missed the opportunity to call it Frosty the Fuckable Snowman,
I love it.
which I think was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, Hot Frosty's also a hectic name.
But yeah,
eh?
so throughout the movie, he is a human, Perrin, but he needs to remain in the cold.
Is he
because
sentient?
He's a he's a
Is he
normal
the
human.
full man?
He's just like, oh, he's just drooling.
But he needs to constantly like eat ice and be outside.
That's funny. That's
and
actually
so
a great
he could like kind
gag.
of melt.
Okay.
It's really dumb.
Yeah, this review is on point for me. It says, this movie failed to tell us how to give or receive a Hot Frosty.
Fuck's sake.
What is a hot frosty?
That's the question,
Okay,
dude. It just
okay.
sounds dirty.
What
It
sounds like a
what
dirty
isn't
trombone.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know?
Tromboner. Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, let's talk about Wicked.
Yay.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Myself and Cole, we went to the Il Grande. We had all sorts of cocktails and special things, and we saw actually a bunch of previous video store guests. It was
Oh,
really
cool.
cool to hang out amongst everyone.
I was happy to see that they invited so many of the local musical theater kids.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's dude, it's the gayest, most musical theater movie like
Yeah.
you could ever want.
and
you know?
surprisingly, they didn't burst out into song. I
Kira-
think that's not a South African thing.
Kira
Yeah.
tried so hard.
Well,
not to,
Really?
yeah.
tell Kira that at the Bioscope we are busy
told her.
planning our sing-along screenings. Through Hayley Evans, who's the owner of Pop Art, which is the theatre we
sick.
used to be next door to in our Mabudeng days. Also, previous guest on the show. She's recommended a few people that could lead a vocal warm-up in the
That's very
Bioscope before.
cool. Yeah.
And just what I'm doing is I'm just giving it a bit of time because the soundtrack's out. People would be listening to the soundtrack, so they'll be familiar with more of the other songs.
yeah.
But yeah,
As opposed to just Defying Gravity.
and and Popular is maybe
Yeah.
the only sort of other song.
There.
And The Wizard and I, that's a classic.
They're all bangers, dude.
They're all banging.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those who don't know, I don't know how you don't know, but The Wizard of Oz was the famous movie and story, and then this is what spurred off a book which looked at the origin story of the two witches.
Mm-hmm.
The Good Witch and the Bad Witch. This then led to a very famous Broadway musical, which has been going for decades.
Yeah.
And now
Has
this,
I thought it came out in like 2011.
No, 2000.
Broad-
It came out like early 2000s.
Really?
Yeah.
The
I don't
Broadway
know
play.
anything.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The
I
Broadway.
thought the Broadway play's been going for since the 90s.
No. I think it's
Sorry.
early 2000s.
I think none of us. did
Cole,
this
check in your
research.
computer.
Okay, Cole, you're gonna put that up, and of course, what this does is it reinterprets the idea of whether or not the evil witch was in fact evil.
Yeah.
There's a lovely political sentiment, and apparently the book itself is far more political, which is how the wizard is trying to control
Manipulate,
Oz
yeah.
and manipulate Oz and people's perceptions as they slowly silence the animals, so
Yeah.
to speak.
But I think that's what Wicked does well, is that there are so many great little character moments, especially with Glinda, is that you can see they are trying to fight the urge not to go with the mainstream, you know what I mean? Like to not go with what people are saying. Like the beginning of the film it takes place straight after The Wizard of Oz. So they're all like, oh, the Wicked Witch is dead. Yes, we're excited about it. And then she arrives there to like see the townsfolk, and like she kind of thinks for a moment, like, should I go along with this? You know what I mean? Like there's a great little moment there that I could see the gears are turning in her head,
Yeah.
and then she has to like eventually go along with it because that's what everyone expects. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
so I'm curious.
The whole movie is filled with moments of that. you
Yeah.
know?
So I'm curious to perhaps know from you because Kira, your partner, has seen
Yes.
the play.
Yeah.
Is that how the play starts?
I didn't ask her that, but
Okay.
basically she said it's everything she wanted from an adaptation.
Yeah.
And I've seen a trend of people who saw the Broadway musical are like, it's fucking amazing. Like they loved it. It was spot on. There was like, Kira said there was one song that wasn't in the Broadway play that comes later on. But she says like she loved that they didn't change anything too much. She didn't like, she was dreading that they were like gonna change too much. And
Yeah.
she said it's just so spot on with how they did it. Casting, she said the casting for everyone was like pitch perfect.
Lovely. And,
Yeah.
and I think myself and Cole had a great time.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is
much
that
fun.
you've got, such a celebrated play to work off.
Yeah.
And what I think is interesting, especially from a play, is that it's the kind of thing that's perhaps evolved slightly and it's been workshopped. And so all these jokes and all these beats are very time and audience tested.
Yeah, 100%.
And so that if a lot of the same jokes and gags and little moments are translated from the play into the movie, you've got this like rock solid story.
Blueprint, yeah.
Because it's worked, and you
Yeah.
know what works in the play, and you know what what doesn't. And so they've got this great chance.
Yeah.
The play itself, I know, is quite long. It's one of the longer plays.
Yeah.
So, and of course, when you're watching a play, they have also timed it so well that the intermission leaves you on a beautiful note.
Yeah, exactly.
Triumphant, but also cliffhanging note,
yeah.
so that you're excited to come back for the second
That
half.
was brilliant.
They did that well.
And
did
so,
that so well.
even by that structure, it's perfect that this movie is going to be in 2 parts.
Yeah.
The second part is going to come out this time next year.
Yeah, I'm very
They've
excited.
they've already shot it and done it, a little bit like Lord of the Rings. They
Yeah.
sort of shot it all in one go,
Yeah.
and they're going to release it in 2 parts. And yeah, by the end of it, myself and Cole, we were loving our time, and it went by very quickly.
Yeah, it didn't feel like 160 minutes at
Yeah,
all.
so it's 2 hours
I
and
think it
40
did.
minutes.
There were parts where I sat there going, "Ugh." The pacing was a bit hectic. But then,
Okay,
it's like,
no,
this is
I
why I
was
feel
fine.
like at the end of it,
Yeah.
what I realized is, because I had so many complaints throughout the movie, like so many.
Oh, I know.
But then at the end of it, I sat there and I went, this is so much better than the sum of its parts, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a fun, effervescent musical.
It's so much fun.
It's beautiful, I think, especially with that final scene in
That final scene dragged
Emerald
on for
City.
me a
Oh,
little bit.
really?
Yeah.
but I remember that final Defying Gravity number.
Oh,
You just sat there and
jeez.
you go, how can you not love this? This is like, it is so immense.
Do you know what blows my mind is that it was all sung live on set.
Yes.
They are all fucking phenomenal.
Especially Cynthia Erivo,
Yeah.
as Alphaba. She's basically flying around on her broomstick when she gets it at the end.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a spoiler, but it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
And she's got like this gyroscope rig
Yeah.
around her that's taking her 20 meters into the air, spinning her
And
around
she's
in the motions of the
fucking
broomstick.
pitch
And
perfect.
she's singing at the same time.
But okay, hold on.
That's
So
wild, eh?
okay, so the one
Fucking
thing
nuts.
the one thing that's worth a mention first is the fact that any behind the scenes footage
Yeah.
and press kit stuff will show you how much of the set was practical.
Yeah.
So like the tulip field that the kids ran through was
there's
all real,
9 million tulips they planted. Yeah.
and the sets were beautiful and enormous without, funny enough, the budget being wild.
Yeah.
The budget
yes, it's
was
150 million.
which
Yeah.
is almost 100 million less than
Yeah, what you'd expect.
things
Yeah.
like Joker and
Yeah.
and some of these big CGI movies. So that's one thing. But then usually what happens is sometimes quite a lot of dialogue gets put in afterwards,
Yeah.
where the characters have to go into, or the actors have to go into recording studios and redo their vocals because
Yeah.
they often need them better separated. They want more control in the mix. So that's a very regular thing.
Mm.
And you would imagine that especially happens in singing and
Yeah.
scenes and in musicals because you can't get it in first take.
Yeah.
But you're saying that they were recording their singing live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they did on Les
Like
yeah.
Les Miserables.
But at least this isn't 3 hours of constant fucking
Like
singing.
wall to wall. Yeah, you can't do
Jesus
that. It
Christ.
doesn't work in movies.
Yeah.
Convinced. So
Yeah.
like on the notes of that fucking production design,
Yeah.
I saw someone mention that it's time for Nathan Crowley to get his Oscar. So
I think
I went into.
yeah.
Who's that?
So Nathan Crowley is the production designer for a lot of Nolan's work, Interstellar, The Prestige.
Why you didn't win
Recently,
for Inception?
production designer.
Okay. Yeah.
Tenet, First Man, The Greatest Showman, Dunkirk, Wonka,
Jesus.
Westworld,
Greatest Showman.
John
Yeah.
Carter, The Dark Knights. So this
Flippin'
guy
hell.
is like never won an Oscar and he's been crushing it.
How did he
actually.
not win it for Inception?
I don't know.
That's
dude.
wild.
It's like, yeah.
Production designer.
yeah.
Okay.
So they build the
They
sets.
build the
yeah.
sets.
They craft the sets. Yeah, that's crazy. But look, I think the crafts. I think this film is going to dominate nominations wise. I don't think it'll get a cinematography.
It'll get the craft.
better not.
awards,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll get production design,
Wa-
costumes,
the
hair and
wardrobe
makeup.
was incredible.
Yeah, hair and makeup. I think Cynthia Erivo will get nominated. I think Ariana Grande, I think she's got an outside chance of being best supporting. I think she should. I think she was fucking great.
She's a comedy
She was-
icon.
She
She's
was good,
brilliant.
but yeah.
So if you're familiar with Ariana Grande, like with her acting stuff, you know she's got the comedy chops because her SNL sketches are always like fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like her Jennifer Lawrence is like famous It's like so good. She's always like, I'm just a regular girl. I'm just a regular girl. You know,
Yeah.
like it's really good. Her Celine Dion is pitch perfect.
Really?
Like, and the thing is, what she does so well, she's not only good at impersonating their mannerisms and how they act, she's good at impersonating their voices when
Yeah.
they sing, which is
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
She's an
she
amazing
could do a Celine Dion, which is wild.
She's
You
an
don't think
amazing
anyone
live
can do
singer.
it.
Yeah, she's a great live singer. So, yeah, she was spot on as Glinda. Galinda, yeah. And yeah, I was very surprised. Look, Kira's gonna throttle me when she hears this. Kira was very excited for it. Full stop. I was indifferent because I was like, they over marketing it. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I went because I was, supporting her and I was excited
That's
for
fair.
her.
I felt the same way.
Yeah, and I just fucking loved it. Like, sure, the cinematography wasn't amazing. It wasn't earth shattering, but like, because that was one of Cole's complaints on his letterbox.
And the feeling
Yeah.
was also that the editing was sometimes a bit sort of
Oh, it was questionable.
questionable
So
and a
much
bit
of it.
slow.
Yeah.
And so funny enough, you've brought up Greatest Showman, and I've mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Within 2 seconds of the Greatest Showman starting, myself, who is a sort of art student performer,
Yeah, I remember you were
sort
gushy
of
about
like
it. Yeah.
within 10 seconds, I'm like, I'm in, because
Yeah.
it almost starts like this kind of beautiful music video.
Yeah.
And it's edited and shot like this music video, which is crazy cuts. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think every musical movie needs a little bit of Baz Luhrmann lunacy, where this
Yeah.
camera, goes wild and it turns into a music video. It's got to be, it's already completely fantastical that
Yeah.
we're singing in the scene.
Yeah.
You've got to lean in and make it as fantastical and
Yeah.
as crazy as possible.
Yes.
And sometimes when you're now in this kind of, let's call it the live action phase,
Yeah.
where we're making these kind of like, we're trying to be like true to life.
Yeah.
Don't try and cut it like a normal movie.
Yeah, I get you. I
Don't
think,
cut it like a normal scene with these like long cuts. It's like we're dancing and singing in the middle of the fucking school
Okay,
choir.
I get you.
Like,
Yeah.
turn it into a music video. Like
Yeah.
it's
So-
got to be ridiculous
So for me, like,
because that's what transports you into musical land.
Yes.
yeah, so for me, look, it didn't bother me as much as it bothered you guys. Like, for me, I was in it when they arrived at Shiz University. Like, it's hard to explain because sometimes you can't explain why, you just felt it. You know what I mean? Like with this, I
totally.
get what you guys are saying. Like, from technical aspects, like, why isn't it as magical as it could be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, for me, I just, based purely on the songs and their performances, that's all I needed. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
No,
like,
I
I was like fully enveloped by it, and I was like, this is so much fun.
Yeah.
It's such a fun movie.
I was
you know?
enveloped sort of by the end, but it
Yeah.
perhaps took me a little bit to get in.
Okay, I get
where
you.
some other musicals, just by whatever reason, connected with me like instantly. This
Joker
one
Part 2, of course.
that did the complete
Follow
opposite.
you,
It
yeah.
kept
Oh my
me
God.
at the door the
Yeah,
entire
exactly.
time.
Fucking hell.
That's the interesting thing to point out about musicals is how hard it must be to sell this illusion, like this
yeah.
idea that people sing in life and make it feel natural. I
So-
think that's really fucking hard.
That's the thing that I was going to get into. So Emilia Perez, have you heard of Emilia Perez?
I recognize the name.
So that did really well at Cannes. It's a musical done by I can't remember his name right now. He's a French filmmaker. It's Selena Gomez, Zoe Saldana, and a Spanish actress. She plays the lead. I'm missing her name right now. Apologies. But basically, it's a musical, but it's a crime cartel musical. And basically, the whole concept, brilliant concept. Cartel leader hires a cartel drug lord, hires Zoe Saldana to, she's a lawyer, to help him get the process moving so that he can transition to being a woman. And there's a great question in the
Shit.
movie. She asks him, do you want to change your gender or do you want to change who you are? Because those are two different things.
Sure.
And the whole movie is about self-discovery. It's about identity, sexual, gender identity. And it's fucking amazing. But this is where I'm getting at. Kira made such a good point. She says very rarely when it's an original musical as a movie, it's actually any good. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Because like Wicked, you've got these great songs written by actual songwriters for that medium.
Yes.
So they translate well.
Yeah.
With Emilia Perez, the Spanish language songs are great. The English language songs are fucking awful. Like,
Wow.
awful. Like, I'm just like, oh. Joker, Folie à Deux, the songs are terrible. They're
Yeah,
boring
It's
and
like
bland.
a sort of weird jukebox musical.
Yeah, like,
they were
and,
just singing old-timey songs.
Even, did you watch Annette with Adam Driver? And so that's done by a filmmaker named Leo Carax. I'm mispronouncing. It's a fucking crazy musical. I love the ambition of it. The music's awful. Awful. But,
Sure.
like, that's what we're getting at, right? Like, so why that Emilia Perez, why does this need to be a musical? There were moments where I was like, I can see why this needs to be a musical, but most of the time I'm like, it doesn't need to be a musical. It would have been better as a normal character study. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
But then you got movies like Wicked where it makes sense. It needs to be a musical.
Absolutely.
Joker, halfway there. If it was handled by a director with a better capabilities of marrying a courtroom drama with a musical, that could have been fucking special.
Yeah.
But it was handled by a very surface level director who didn't know how to fucking handle it.
Yeah.
And what we get is a confusing movie that doesn't know what it wants to be.
The whole time I'm sitting there thinking of Billy Flynn in Chicago and being like, that's just
Exactly.
better than this whole movie, and
Yeah.
it's a 5-minute number.
And then you look
know?
at all these great musicals, West Side Story and all that. They make sense as musicals because
Yeah.
they're established, and it's just like embedded into our brains. Like, oh, this makes sense as a
But it
musical.
was written for a live audience.
Yeah,
it was written with that
100%.
in mind.
Yeah.
And there's that great Family Guy sort of joke where it goes, "When more people join in, the song gets better." And then another
So
person
true.
walks on stage like, "When more people join in,"
Yeah.
and then like it just gets louder and louder, and they just keep
Yeah.
repeating the same thing. It's like that's built for an audience,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's tried and tested
exactly.
because the shit musicals don't survive.
Exactly. Did
So
you?
these are surviving for some good reason.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah,
And I'm glad Wicked's doing well because, like Cole said, hopefully this starts. I think you said this. Hopefully this
Yeah.
starts a wave of Hollywood taking chances with big fucking musicals. Maybe we will finally. I think we will get a Book of Mormon musical. Yeah, as music. Look, we've had attempts at it, but they haven't been good attempts. Like Dear Evan Hansen was woefully miscast. Jesus. But like with Wicked, I was worried. I remember we were saying that they aren't marketing it as a musical, which is worrying.
Yes.
Because people are going to get in and be like, oh, what the
It's like-
fuck? This is a musical like Mean Girls, right?
Absolutely.
But like because Wicked is established, it's
It's
known
just
to be a
so
musical.
famous as
It's
a
iconic,
musical. Yeah.
right? So like, and I'm glad people are resonating with it because it's already dominating.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to do fucking well. I think it's going to do well at award season. I think it's going to do well, like just for longevity. I think it's a great movie. Yeah, I think it's a really great, fun movie. So I'm very happy about it.
No,
Yeah.
and I think we're living in the era of authenticity
Yeah.
and representation. We've been pretty much for the duration of this podcast, we've been talking about like what is establishing our time,
Yes,
our current
yeah,
movie
totally.
time. The 80s saw a certain kind of movie get made. The 70s and the 60s
Right.
each had their own kind of sort of
Yeah,
style and was very
100%.
informed by the time and society and
Yeah.
and what was happening. And I think our era right now is this era of representation and authenticity.
Yeah,
and
I
so,
agree.
And so
Totally.
you're getting the right people cast, you're doing it in the right way, because this is why I'm not afraid of the big critics, panning these movies before
Yeah.
they start or praising them before they start, because people are seeing whether or not these things are authentically done.
Yeah, exactly.
And when someone walks out of it going, fuck, they did that well,
Yeah.
and good for them, they deserve it.
Yeah.
If someone
Absolutely.
goes, oh my God, this is dull, what was the point?
Yeah.
Then fucking they don't deserve the millions.
But your
Yeah.
example of Hot Frosty, you're like, it's a stupid movie, but it's a blast, right?
Well, yeah, fucking well done for
and
them.
and
man.
that's what I appreciate. Like, I hate it when a movie is bad and boring. That's why Joker Folie à Deux was such a failure, is because it was bad and boring.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
if you're gonna make a Joker musical, make it fucking insane, like
No,
batshit insane.
Exactly. No,
know?
I 100% agree. So speaking of batshit insane, do you guys want to take a brief moment to talk about the substance?
Yes.
Let's start with Cole. Where did you watch it? Because this was on your European holiday.
yeah.
And I've said this before, this is why you work at the video stores, because you are the kind of person that would travel to an exciting foreign country and
Yes.
spend some time in the dark in a cinema watching movies, which is what I do.
I'm so proud of him.
I at least go and visit cinemas when
Yeah.
I'm in foreign countries because I love to see how they do it.
Yeah.
I don't always have the time to watch, but I once did a trip to New York where I literally went to a new film-related site, be it a museum or a cinema, every day.
Yeah.
And I often watched lots of movies. I was doing a trip by myself. So
That's cool, though.
yeah, you were
would love to do
you were
that.
somewhat solo traveling.
Yes,
So
for a large majority of
so
it.
you could do this.
Yeah.
So where did you watch The Substance?
The Substance happened on my first weekend in the UK where I went to Milton Keynes, which is just north. It's like a transit
cool.
town
Yeah.
north of London. And that's where the creative director that I work under lives.
Oh,
And
cool.
I got to see if his, this is like the joke at work, is if his indoor cinema in his garage, converted garage, is like real and legit
Yeah.
and cool. It was fucking awesome.
Oh, amazing.
He heard that I hadn't seen True Romance before, and he put
Oh,
it on-
really?
Yeah. He put it onto his Blu-ray, and we watched it.
Nice.
So it was very much like a nerdy film bros kind of weekend. And then we went to the Odeon in Milton Keynes.
I've heard of the Odeon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I spent money on UK pound-based movie
Ooh,
tickets, which was
brutal.
Yeah.
painful. It's like
Yeah.
400 Rand for one ticket.
Ooh.
And we went to
Yes.
go see The Substance together. So I was like, Darren, I haven't been to a cinema in the UK before. I've been here
Yeah.
before, but didn't do that, and I regret it. Take me to watch a movie.
Why I like that is because for me, The Substance is a movie that I should have seen in a cinema. It never came
Absolutely.
to cinemas
It's
in
a
South
cinema
Africa
movie. 100%.
because very rarely would you walk out on a cinema.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, like I've done that twice in my life where it's just like I don't have time for this bullshit,
Yeah.
and I've left because it's there's other things I need to do
Yeah.
in my life that of just living my life is more important than this
Yeah.
movie. But that's very rare. But for the most part, you're forced to watch.
You're forced to sit
Yeah.
through it.
And so The Substance is
Especially if you're there with a friend.
is
Like,
a-
you have to do it.
is a body horror. For those who don't know, our main character is played by Demi Moore,
Yes.
who is a aging
Movie star. Yeah.
beauty queen of sorts, where she at the start of the movie is relieved of her job as a sort of an aerobics TV host. She then discovers the fact that this sort of black market product exists called The Substance. I don't want to give too much away, but the basic premise is that you create a
Younger, hotter version.
younger,
of
hotter
yourself.
version of yourself, which you have to swap.
Yeah.
The consciousness swaps
Every
between
7 days. Yeah.
you and this other person, and then of course, if the balance of this is altered in any way, and you fuck with this harmony, things can go wrong.
Yeah. Remember, you are one. That's like the main
Yes.
thing they say.
The cool thing about it was how simple. So there was a fine line to buy into here in terms of disbelief,
Yeah.
where you had to sit there and be like, these are the rules of this stupid science,
Yeah.
Yes.
and I'm going to buy into it. Because if you think about it too much, it's all going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And you
it's
need to just be
completely
like,
ludicrous. And
It's the way that it's presented as being like hyper stylized, super simple,
Yeah.
the big text on the packets. You sit there and going, this doesn't look medical, this doesn't look legit. We're
There's-
paying it up as the stylized film, right?
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you buy into it in a second, and then it starts to ham it up, dude.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I what I really appreciate is how this quite small budget,
Yeah.
very
it was
sort of
small.
simple film
Yeah.
got the critical acclaim that it got, and how
Yeah.
it got the respect at
It's like
Cannes.
notoriety as well.
But
Yeah.
it got the respect at Cannes this year, and it
One best screenplay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it got everyone's attention as this like
Carly
really
Forget.
interesting, bold thing. My one little critic is that the main through line is, the world doesn't accept you. You got to be pretty. You got to be young. You got to be perky.
Yeah. I've got a lot to say about
And
that.
the one thing I could say is that of course that is the case, and I know women
Yeah.
struggle with that, but in 2024, more than ever before, has that not been as much of an issue?
It still is, though.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
No, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
I get what you're saying.
I'm just
yeah.
saying that in 2024, you can own your age far more than before.
So that's what the movie kind of wants you to know. So what I love about The Substance, like you say, how hyper stylized it is, there's nothing subtle or nuanced about the movie. It's
Yeah,
so
you-
in your face about what it's trying to say, right?
You see more of Margaret Qualley's bum
Yeah.
than you see Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
It's like there is
Well, it's a
screen
2.5
time.
hour long
Do you
movie,
know that
Yeah.
she is Andy McDowell's daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
I
fucking
did not know
amazing.
that.
What I love about her is she is always doing challenging and weird roles. She has so much fucking range.
Yes.
She can do anything at this
Brilliant.
No,
point.
she's an exciting young actress.
so exciting.
And there
Yo.
was a great interview with her where they were like, "Did your parents come to see the
she's like,
Substance
"No."
or something?" She's like, "It hasn't been a good year for family viewing."
yeah, poor thing.
Apparently, she got called. Apparently, she got called by her dad, and he had a bunch of like friends in the car, and they're like, "We're all going to the Substance
like,
or
"No,
something."
no."
She's like, "No, like don't go watch this."
But yeah, so what I was saying is that like what I love about the movie. So obviously, like one interesting. So Coralie Faget, who did the film, one of the most interesting things that she said in one of her interviews was that when she turned 40, she felt like her life ended.
Yeah.
Like she was like, okay,
Wow.
I'm not pretty anymore. I'm too old. No one's going to pay attention to me. It's literally, midlife crisis kind of vibes, right?
Yeah.
So this film, it feels like Demi
Demi Moore.
Moore's character is like her in the nutshell in this movie. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? She
and-
feels like she's being thrown out to die. No one cares about her and stuff like that, right? And that's what I love about this film as well, is that it discusses the impossible beauty standards we have, but it's so easily to relate to that experience regardless of you being male or female. Because when I get older, every birthday, I'm like, fuck, like time's running out. You
Yeah.
know
No,
what I mean?
sure. And it's worth mentioning deeper in our list of episodes is a great conversation with a woman called Deborah Darling,
Yeah.
who's a South African woman who very similarly was like, when you get old, you get lost.
Yeah.
And there's a great chat with her, and actually she's highlighted in our if you go to the videostore.co.za and you scroll down, you'll see we've got direct links to particular episodes. And she was just saying that you become this kind of grey, literal and figurative person in society, and you don't get looked at, you don't get considered, you don't, And so she chose to stand out as this bold, beautiful woman with a big grey hairstyle.
I get
You
you.
know, and she's just living her best life now. But
Yeah.
it's that can only sort of happen now. But it's interesting that and then once again, just saying why this movie works is that it wasn't done by like a young male horror director.
Exactly. It was done by a female.
Done by a female who really
Who's in
like
her 40s.
is sticking her own feelings into this.
Yeah, and I mean that's also one of the things that like it's a recurring theme throughout. I mean, it's a literal representation of her and a younger self version of herself, right?
Yeah.
And the whole movie paints that this is your chance to get a younger, hotter version of yourself, and you have to swap between the two and stuff, right? But like what I appreciate about the film is that there's a sense of naivety from the young person who is like looks at the older version of herself with like disdain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like where
Yeah.
when they swap over, she comes out and she's noticed that Demi Moore's just been being a slob, like eating in and not going out and stuff, because Demi Moore sees this young, hot version of herself and she's like, I can't be like that. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
The separation
There's
in ego that starts to happen is really interesting.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be the same person you are one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But then the entire film's conflict is about them separating in terms of like they're the same person in terms of their consciousness, but very much not. You know,
yeah.
if you're in this body, you feel differently.
Exactly.
Right?
So like that's one of the best, I think actually my favorite scene in the whole film. There's a scene where Demi Moore she hasn't taken the substance yet, but she bumps into a guy who went to high school with her. And he tells her, you're still the most beautiful woman in the world. And she just brushes it off because she just got
Can't believe
fired.
it, yeah.
And who is this? This is a nobody. He's not famous, right? But then later on in the film, there's an opportunity where she can go on a date with him. And there's a great sequence of events where she's about to go out. She's dolled up. She looks gorgeous. I mean, Demi Moore is beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But then she sees her young self on the billboards and in the room and stuff. And she goes back and she changes things. She's like, changes her makeup. And eventually it like becomes such a crazy scene where she just stays in because she's like, I can't be this beautiful thing, even though this guy doesn't care who I am right now. He thinks I'm perfect as I am.
She
right
doesn't
now.
even consider him at that point.
And
it's just between her.
It's a great. It's a future feminist classic because it's. I mean, like you said, it's not very subtle. It's very like, okay, impossible beauty standards and stuff like that. But the main message for me from the film is to be kinder to yourself. That's it.
Absolutely.
To your younger self, to your past self, to your future self.
Yeah, it's like through
Because-
both bodies, you have to empathize with the experience of the other, right?
Right, because I mean, you look at your younger self, right? You look, okay, I was thinner, I was more ambitious, I had all these things going for me. And then if I looked back at my younger self looking at me now, I'd be like, what a fucking loser. This oak's not doing all the things that I wanted to do.
him to do. Yeah.
He's letting himself go in terms of fitness and stuff like that. And getting to the end of the movie, I was just like, it's the key message. It sounds cheesy, but it's just to be kind to yourself. And I mean,
of course.
her, Stephanie Sparkle, is it her name, Stephanie?
Elizabeth
Sparkle. There's her sign off is, in the meantime, take care of yourself. And that's what I felt like, take care of yourself. And yeah, I mean, I wrote a review about it, my first review in fucking 5 months, and I loved it. It was like really a very effective movie for me.
Have you found it affected you in the sense that you are now taking better care of
I
yourself?
want to, I mean, and that's what I love about the power of movies. I mean, Roger Ebert said it so beautifully, is that film has the ability to generate empathy and sympathy unlike any other art form.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing it happen. You don't need to imagine it happening while you're reading it off the page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a movie like this allows people to be empathetic for their own experiences, but also sympathetic, seeing like, oh, that's how it's like to be in this scenario. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. I think that's amazing. And I've got a lovely segue, unless there's anything else to talk about. We watched a very sweet Disney movie on Disney Plus called Out of My Mind.
Out of My Mind.
Which is about it's really the story of a young girl with cerebral palsy.
Okay.
And it's about her being in this kind of special class that sort of deals with her special needs, but they're really all physical needs. Her brain is perfect.
Yeah.
And she's really smart, and she's really eager, and she's really determined. And it's about her family moving her into the main class at the school, and her being a part of the trivia team, the Whiz Kids, which is an American, sort of after school program that they take very seriously. But it's a delightful movie, and it's done, as you said, it just puts you in the mind of her.
Yeah.
And you can feel the frustration. You'd appreciate this. So she's got this goldfish.
Yeah.
And she sees this goldfish jump out of the tank. And her fish is flopping on the floor, but she can't speak. Because she's got a cerebral palsy so bad that she can't speak.
Okay.
And she's desperate to try and get her dad's attention. He's busy doing something outside. So eventually she tries to splash some water out of the tank, try to fix this thing. Eventually she knocks over the tank. Dad walks in and shouts at her because
look at
what you've done. You've killed your fish because you've knocked this tank over. You got to be careful. And then this moment happens when she eventually gets a sort of Stephen Hawking-esque device to communicate. And the first thing she says to her dad, I forget what the name of the fish is. Let's call it Pedro. Yeah. She's like, Pedro jumped out of the tank. That's the first thing she says to her dad.
I like that. Yeah.
And the dad just fucking breaks down.
Oh, shame.
Because he's like, oh my God, I was never able to fully understand what actually happened. What happens to you? You get this weird sense.
Yeah.
Oh, gooeyes, bro. Full on gooeyes. No, it's a very sweet film. And of course, the woman involved does have it. So there's also this added level of authenticity. You're not getting a Hollywood actor putting on cerebral palsy. No, it's a great film, and it's also another good feels and a good watch. And so that's Out of My Mind.
Certified gooey.
Certified gooey, and it's got you'll appreciate this. Her voice, her narration is Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, cool!
And
lovely.
Very similar to the device in Boy Kills World.
Just better.
You've got a character. You've got a character that doesn't have a voice. So the narrator says, "Well, I don't know what my voice sounds like because I don't have a voice. So I'm going to choose my voice, and I love watching Friends, And so my voice is Jennifer Aniston, and this is coming from the voice
That's
of
clever.
Jennifer
I like
Aniston.
that. Yeah, that's really cute.
And there's
actually,
a lovely
yeah.
device at the end where she sort of grows out of it. It's really a good watch. Let's quickly get to your list.
Oh shit!
Because we are running out of time here.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly through it.
So yeah, as we said, P-Dog always puts a little list together.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking witchy stuff, we're going to do 5 films that you didn't know
Yeah, you should check out.
were perhaps there that you should be watching that are witch related.
Okay, so this is an oldie. So 1922 silent film called Hakshan.
The Hakshan.
Yeah, it's just Haxan. It means witch in Swedish.
Okay.
So it's a Swedish production done by a Danish director.
In the 20s.
Yeah, 1922.
Okay, so silent.
Yeah, silent film. It's a horror movie, but it's also it's interesting because it's a bit of it's narrative, but it's also like documentary. So the
Okay.
film talks about the history of witchcraft, basically, and like devil worship and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's a mixture of documentary where they go, these are the facts, these are the opinions, and then they show like, you know, they follow a narrative of a woman who's been accused of this and that, you know.
Okay.
And it's an interesting film because it gives you a perspective of what people thought about mental illness at long ago.
100 years ago.
But even
Yeah.
in the 20s, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and the interesting forward-thinking idea about the film is that it discusses the idea that these women who were killed in the Salem witch trials and all that stuff, they often found it through studies that a lot of the symptoms had to do with mental illness or just what they call in the film hysteria. So,
Yeah.
like, literally, a woman not having a bad day is considered hysteria.
Yeah.
you know?
Shout out to the amazing film with Maggie Gyllenhaal called Hysteria.
Yeah. So, yeah, really, really very interesting watch. Cool movie.
Okay.
Another one, it's on Mubi. It's in Mubi, South Africa as well, called Witches. It's a documentary. It follows this. It's the filmmaker who made it. The film is literally about when she got her first child and the serious like postpartum depression, right? And she talks about in this film how she started to lose her mind and stuff like that. Like she didn't understand what was happening.
Okay.
And this film talks about, it relates to the witch trials back in the day and what they experienced, and also the whole mental health thing, stuff like that. Witches, fantastic.
And a documentary.
Great editing of archival film footage of movies with witches or relating to witches and stuff.
Okay.
Really phenomenal watch. I mentioned this one before, but I got to mention it again. You Won't Be Alone. It's on Apple TV. You can rent. It's a Macedonian film. I've mentioned it before in my horror picks, but I've got to mention it one more time. It's basically if Terrence Malick directed The Witch, and it is gorgeous. It's about literally, it's quite a little on the nose, but basically it's about a little girl who becomes a witch, but in witch lore, witches can shapeshift, right?
Yeah.
To like animals, to humans, whatever, right? So this movie, basically, this little girl, it's a coming-of-age movie where she starts to understand what it is to be human through being a male, a woman, an animal, everything. It's just incredible. It's a Macedonian film.
Where the fuck is Macedonia?
It's in Eastern Europe. So Alexander the Great was Macedonian.
Yeah.
He wasn't Greek.
That still doesn't help me. Okay,
Yeah.
Eastern Europe.
Yeah, it's an Australian film, but it's the director's a queer Macedonian film, Macedonian descent filmmaker. So the whole film's in Macedonian. Rooney Mara is in it. Not Rooney Mara. Numi Rapace is in it.
Okay.
So it's
great
basically
film.
Southeastern Europe,
Yeah.
and like where Greece is.
Yeah, it's above Greece.
Yeah, it's like above Greece in that area. Like,
Okay.
Wonderful film.
Okay.
Another one, I've got a bunch. I've got to kill my darlings here. Okay, this is just a classic. If you don't know it, if you're in the know, you know it, but Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, brilliant pick.
The anime.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli, a wonderful movie about a witch who just starts a courier service.
It's like it's a strong contender for their best film.
It's so beautiful. I think it's
Yeah,
one of
it's a good
Miyazaki's
choice.
best movies. It's just wonderful. The English dub is dubbed by Kirsten Dunst. It's a good dub, actually. But
watch
young,
that.
like 13-year-old Kirsten Dunst.
Cool.
Very, very cool. That's on Netflix. This one is cool. So it's called The Witch Part 1, The Subversion. So it's a Korean film.
Okay.
Came out in 2022, massive hit in Korea. The West didn't really get it.
This is just part 1.
Yeah, part 2 is terrible. So part 1, it's about it's like similar to Hannah with Saoirse Ronan. Yeah. So basically, this teenage girl, she goes on she's like lives with her family. She's like a bit disconnected from the world. She goes on a talent search project and she sings, but she makes the microphone levitate.
Okay.
And then this brings these scary guys to their door and like, we fucking know who you are. Like, if you don't come with us right now, we're going to kill your family.
Oh, my God.
And it's like a cool, very interesting vengeance movie where it's like fucking crazy action sequences, super violent, super fun, really, really cool Korean movie. And yeah, it's just lots of cool twists and turns. The sequel is not good. But yeah, The Witch Part 1 Subversion is really fun.
That sounds really
Part
cool. 1
Subversion.
Yeah, it's because when I saw The Witch Part 1, I was like, what's that? And because, I mean, I love The Witch by Robert Eggers, which I didn't pick because I felt like...
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah, everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then last one.
Okay, little
also,
sneaky,
I'm doing it because it's available.
Sneaky special mention.
Tragedy of Macbeth, Apple TV Plus, Joel Cohen...
Okay, the black and white one that came out about 2 years ago with Denzel Washington.
Fucking amazing adaptation. Holy cow. But basically, the witches played by, what's her name? She's an English actress. She was in...
What's the witch's name?
In the movie?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Just give me a sec.
They don't have
Catherine Hunter, Scott Supinio.
Catherine Hunter.
No, that's the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Catherine Hunter, she plays... all 3 witches.
Yeah, I was about to say, because there are 3 witches in Macbeth.
Yeah, and she twists and contorts, and she's just mind-blowing to watch in the film. I think it's the best. I think it's the best adaptation of Macbeth that I've seen.
Yeah,
because
it is good. Yeah, it's so funny. I did Macbeth in high school.
Yeah,
as our major production, and this woman had this lovely idea who puts on the plays every year at Bryanston.
Yeah.
She had this lovely idea to make it this kind of modern retelling where it was companies.
Oh, got you.
And corporate espionage.
And,
and it was cool. Then I also crewed on Macbeth, which was a more traditional retelling of it at varsity. So I really got to know the words of the play. And then you forget about it for years.
Yeah.
And then it was so interesting watching that Cohen.
Yeah, Joel Cohen.
The Joel Cohen version on Apple TV and going, I remember every line of this movie.
Yeah.
And it just comes
cool.
to you like, as the movie plays out, you're like, oh, I know that line. I know that line.
That's interesting.
Gorgeous to look at as well. I mean, that
beautiful black and white.
Yeah, it's almost like that German and
the cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yes, 100%.
Well done.
It's
Look at you knowing your film history.
It's like 1920s, 1930s German like style.
Yeah,
you know,
it was called German Expressionism.
Expressionism, that's right. But
shout out to film school.
Yeah. But that movie, man, like
okay,
it's
no,
my
that's
favorite.
a nice special mention.
Yeah.
Of course, you forget that so much of Macbeth is about witchcraft.
Yeah, 100%.
But magic, thank you, my chaps.
Yeah, pleasure.
My pals, my pelskis.
Yeah.
Appreciate this little huck behind the counter. And thank you for listening. And once again, for those, we would love to have you join us at our screening. It's always nice to include you, you guys that are busy browsing the aisles right now, listening to us chat. We want to get to know you more, bring you in a little closer, have a hang.
Yes.
And one of the most important things to mention is we haven't seen this movie either, so we're going to watch it
First
together.
time. It's going to be fun.
And here's hoping it's real good. But yeah, so for those who are going to join us, we'll see you on Wednesday at the Zone at Rosebank. Otherwise, for everyone else, we'll be seeing you real soon.
Yay.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Cheerio.